was a second to get started there. I don't know what's going on. Freaking title. But hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Empire 161 Show. Season 3, Episode 2. And we're opening up with Anthony Rizzo's current walk-off music and Rock the Casbah by The Clash. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on our Facebook live stream, if you're joining us on the YouTube Pop Culture Pros page, or if you're joining us on our brand new Twitter handle, which we're streaming live to right now, so we finally got that going. Thanks and appreciate that. Or if you're finding us on the audio-only version, wherever you found us on, Apple iTunes, or if you found us on Spotify, whatever it is, we appreciate it. So, with me as always is Lisa Garcia. Lisa, what is up?
Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. I gotta say, this is a very interesting song of Rizzo's, so I want to know why he picked it. I'm gonna have to look into that. But yeah, everything's going all right. Trying to maintain Easter weekend. Happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Eid, whatever you celebrate, folks. Thank you for joining us and tuning in. And yeah, just excited that baseball has started again, and we get to watch the Yankees. They've had a lot of games straight because of having to push opening day back. But yeah, let's just jump right in and start talking about it.
Yeah, so speaking of games that they've had to start off with, well, yesterday was Jackie Robinson Day all across baseball. So some of the interesting touches that they've done is, well, yesterday was the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball, and doing some great stuff moving forward. But they for the uniforms this year, because everyone usually wears number 42 throughout baseball because it is universally retired, the only number that is. Even though some are also making a push for 21 to be retired as well for Roberto Clemente. Well, I'll ask you about Lisa. What do you think about that? You think they should? Are you in favor for this, or?
Absolutely. Roberto Clemente did so much for the sport of baseball, and not only that, he was such an amazing humanitarian. And so many players. I remember hearing that Anthony Rizzo, he's got the patch, I think it's on his hat this year.
Mm-hmm.
All of the current players who recently won the Roberto Clemente Award wear his number on their hat now. If they're going to do things like that, then absolutely, I think that he should be considered retiring his number as well, because he was such an influential player, and players really respond to what the two of them represented for baseball. I think that would say a lot about Major League Baseball really trying to work on being more diverse and inclusive as well. So I would love to see that in addition to Jackie Robinson's number. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know for the Yankees, we're going to have our 21 retired specifically with Paul O'Neill Day. It's actually on Angie's birthday on August 21st. Yeah, so, but yeah, we're going to have that. But it would be cool if they went ahead and went with because I know they have like a Roberto Clemente Day, and I know the Pirates last year wore their 21 and stuff like that. It would be cool if like all of baseball got into it and you do the same thing, kind of like, for Jackie Robinson Day. That'd be cool. But what they did for yesterday, though, specifically, is they had the Dodgers font, and color, Dodger blue, on everyone's jerseys. They didn't, change anything else, just that universally across baseball. And God, I remember the Yankees uniform with that 42 looked pretty sharp. I mean, it wasn't like didn't stood out like it was like neon green or something like that, but it was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I was digging it. Even on the O's uniforms, who don't normally have blue in it, but looked pretty sharp as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it stood out a little bit more. I think it was really cool to do that and really honor where he came from, what he was representing when he played, and it just made it look a little bit more special. So
yeah,
I like that they did that.
Oh, absolutely. And then also we were talking before we went on live about we caught an interview with the last two people to wear 42 in Major League Baseball. The last being Yankees Mariano Rivera. And it was Butch Husky of the Mets, and they were on I think it was MLB Network when they were talking about that. And you wanted to share what you got to hear from Mariano Rivera's point of view, because in that interview he disclosed something I really wasn't aware of.
Yeah, actually, both of them surprised me with it. So they were talking to I think it was Harold Reynolds, And he was asking them, like, what does the number mean to you? And both of them said that they didn't actually know who Jackie Robinson was when they were young. Butch Husky said that he didn't learn about it until I want to say he was in high school, and he had to write a paper, and one of his teachers suggested, "You're a ball player. Why don't you write a paper about this guy Jackie Robinson?" And he's like, "Well, who's that?" So he ended up writing the paper and being really fascinated by Jackie Robinson and everything he represented, and that's how he found out about him. And then Mariano said he didn't pick the number picked him, and he didn't know who Jackie Robinson was until he was wearing the number, and somebody was like, "Oh my God, you have Jackie Robinson's number," and he was like, "Who's that?" And then when he found out who it was, he felt like a little bit more pride in having that number as well. So it's just and those two guys, like you said, they're the last two players who wore the number officially, which means that wasn't that long ago. So they didn't know who he was not that long ago,
No.
it's just pretty remarkable because I think people our age and younger, like, we definitely know who he was. Growing up, we knew who that was and what he did. And now there's a movie about him, and there's so many things that you can, learn about him. So just fascinating to hear when somebody doesn't know that, and now it's like common knowledge everywhere.
Yeah, which I think is a big part of that has to do also with Major League Baseball in 1987. They started this initiative with Jackie Robinson Day, and I live right by the Jackie Robinson, Parkway over here in
Mm-hmm.
Queens and in Brooklyn. So, I mean, that was renamed because it used to be the Interborough for those who don't live in New York. That's what it was called. But yeah, it's been the Jackie Robinson or the Jackie since, and that's kind of what you refer to it as. And I think a lot more people have become fully aware of what Jackie Robinson has done and what he stood for and everything, and it's awesome. It's
Mm-hmm.
really cool to see that every year that he's honored in this fashion, across the game, and even bigger because I mean this is bigger than just Major League Baseball. I mean this is just an entire thing. So it's pretty cool. I like it. All right, so we'll go ahead and roll on to one more topic before we get into our games so far for the season. And it's Aaron Judge's contract situation that's here. So quickly bringing this up is, I mean, because it is the big story surrounding the Yankees. I mean, and I think this is why Judge wanted to get an extension done prior to opening day was because he didn't want this to happen. But I mean, doesn't mean you gotta like cave in and just give in, to whatever contract was offered to you. But they couldn't reach an agreement by opening day, and Cashman did mention that he was going to release the numbers that they for their offer, which is a bit unusual. But my guess is this is a PR thing because the Yankees have been in kind of like hit this off season with like we found out also like they never made an actual offer to Freddie Freeman, even though they were rumored to be on it, or Carlos Correa. Like Cashman literally said, we never even made an offer, which is a little surprising because I thought that they were really in on Freeman, but we talked about it last time. I'm not upset about having Anthony Rizzo back because I do love Anthony Rizzo. So it's fine. I'll admit he's no Freddie Freeman, but still pretty damn good. Yeah, but the details of the offer that were made was a 7-year deal at $213.5 million extension is what he was offered. That's pairing it with the arbitration case because they are going to arbitration where the Yankees are, offered 17 million. Judge sided with 21 million. So at some point it's going to be settled. He's going to get either one or the other. There's no like in between there. So you can kind of see where Judge's mind is at with that. And Judge is actually turning 31 years old this week. So I think there's a lot of factors in play. I personally think the offer was a fair offer from the Yankees. I don't think they were shortchanging him. I think it was a solid offer. All things considered, one, his age, two, Judge is my favorite player on the team, but he does have an injury history that is there. And I think that they took that into consideration and his size as he ages. That's what I'm saying. I really thought it was a fair offer, but they do understand that he is the face of the franchise. He's bringing in tons of everyone's buy. His jersey's always one of the top selling ones. I mean, shit, they have a Judge's Chambers in right field. They've never done that for anyone ever. There was no like Jeter section in the stands or like Mo's whatever in like the outfield or something like that. So it just shows what he means to the organization from like a promotional standpoint. And All Rise and everything like that. That's all over t-shirts. The guy's just like just a marketing machine. But but he's just kind of thinking that at his age, this is his one major payday. This is it. So I got to cash in. I got to kind of get it all. And I think by turning it down, he's betting on himself. He's like, listen, if I go out, I stay healthy, I have another MVP caliber season, I think the Yanks will have no choice but to, pony up and really kind of give in to what he wants, because the reports were out there that he's looking for 9 years. So he wants this to be his last contract, to take him till he's 40.
Yeah.
He can retire. He doesn't have to get into this stuff we've seen over the years with like Jorge Posada at the end of his career. There was a lot of nasty stuff. Things got nasty with the Yankees at the end, but it was resolved. Even with Jeter, after his big contract, the last couple of deals, Yanks were playing hardball, for lack of a better term, with him, as well. Mo was the only one I don't remember that being like, a thing about. They even played hardball with Andy Pettitte when he skipped out to Houston for a couple of years, which still bothers me to this day. I wish he was like, a lifelong Yankee. Lisa, so hearing all of this, seeing what it is, what Judge. I don't think we've ever really discussed it. Oh, all right, forget it. I know the answer to the question. I was going to ask you who's your favorite player, but I know. All right, forget it. Never mind with that.
No. Actually, no. Come on.
Is it not? Is it not?
He's my favorite for a different reason.
Yes, but either way, all factors in.
No. All factors in. Current Yankees, yeah, it's probably going to be Aaron Judge for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, like you said, he's the face of the franchise. He's got the judges' chamber. He had a Supreme Court justice come and sit in the judges' chamber. I mean, come on, you can't get much more famous than that. Like, and he also seemed, you named Jeter, you named Mo, you named a couple other people. He seems like one of the most approachable Yankees, right? Like when I think of him and his personality, it makes me think more of like somebody like Tino Martinez, or like just like friendlier and outgoing, and really does want to interact with the public more, not like kind of standoffish and like too cool for things. So I like that. I like that vibe about him. I think he's really hardworking, and I'm never going to be mad at somebody who wants to bet on themselves. I feel like that says a lot. And whether that comes back and bites him or not after the year is over, we'll find out. However, I feel like that speaks a lot to kids who are playing baseball and softball now that are, looking for mentors. And it's like, no, you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, you can't rely on anybody else to do it, as much as you. You know your own body, you know what you're capable of. And now you have to show everybody, what that is exactly. So I think it's pretty bold in a really positive way. I think a lot of folks will be inspired by that. I think a lot of players, and we talked about this a little bit last year, a lot of players get taken advantage of and they actually don't get what they're worth. I do agree with you. I think what the Yankees offered was pretty good. But yeah, I think for all the ways that he shows up for them outside of just being their right fielder, like I think they need to listen to that, and I think they need to respect that a little bit more. I'm gonna throw in there that he probably should be the captain of the Yankees too. Like they should also name that. So if they're gonna give him that contract, if they go ahead and move forward and solidify that he's gonna be with us for the rest of his playing careers, they should make him the captain as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was gonna go next with it. Like thoughts on that, because they definitely. I mean, to me, he checks every box you would want in a captain of the team. And again, not that baseball you really need a captain of our team, because the Yankees have gone with it and without it over the years. But for the most part, it seems like guys do that. That's kind of the way it goes. For whether it be Derek Jeter, Don Mattingly, even Willie Randolph, and stuff like that. So. Yeah, it seems like it just makes sense. And maybe when they reach that agreement, that'll also be the announcement that maybe he has been named captain of the team, and just make it one whole big thing. But of course, there's been like Bleacher Report and other stuff I ran with, like, other destinations where he could land. And of course, the Dodgers are on the list. And now that the Mets actually have like an ownership that's awake, they're like, on that list. And listen, my cousin called me yesterday. My cousin Rob called me when he was on the way to Citi Field for opening day, and he's like trying to bust chops, like, Aaron Judge is going to be, over in Citi Field next year and there's all this other stuff. I'm like, dude, you have a better chance at me being at Citi Field next year, DHing for you than Aaron Judge is there. I'm like, I don't see there's any way at all that the Yanks don't bring him back. I just think they'll up the offer. It'll be there if he does what he says he's going to do. Or hopefully he doesn't go the other way and he's kind of like banged up throughout the year, or maybe has a down year. Then he's going to have to be in a situation where he's got to hope that offer is still out there. Because if they pull it back, then the ball's in their court, and they're like, well, I don't know, let's see what happens.
It kind of it reminds me of what's that game show with Howie Mandel, where they open a couple of cases, and if they lose some money, then the banker upstairs, like their offer gets lower. I can't think of the name of the show anymore.
Oh man, it's driving me nuts. I feel like it's like the tip of my tongue. It's right there.
I feel like I gotta look it up while we're talking. But
this kid can't let this go now.
But I feel like that's the kind of situation he's in. So he does have to. He does have to hope he has a pretty good year. Otherwise, that number is deal or no deal.
That's deal or no deal. There you go.
Yeah, because otherwise that number is definitely going to drop for him, and I don't know if he'll be okay with it dropping lower than that.
I think he'll just take this offer in a heartbeat. He would run to get this offer immediately. But for the Yankees, listen, I'm sure they're hoping he stays healthy, puts up an MVP season, leads them to the playoffs and hopefully a deep playoff run and a very deep playoff run, like the deepest playoff run you can possibly have. Put it that way.
But, like all the way to the end with a win.
Yeah, like all the way to the end, like the type of playoff run where you have like a parade in the Canyon of Heroes. Yeah. That type of playoff run.
I mean, I would like that too because it's been a long time.
Yes, it's been a little while, at least for us Yankee fans.
For us Yankee fans, it's been a while.
Normal standards, we get it. But
I do want to comment on something though, in terms of like people who are capable of being leader. Like, so I'm not talking about somebody else being named captain, but just people who also show up in that way. There's been a lot of emphasis on how Anthony Rizzo and my friend Giancarlo, how they both show up as leaders on the team. Anthony Rizzo, when I'm gonna say the guy's name wrong, Marinaccio.
You got it.
When Marinaccio was, he faced a couple of batters and he got shook up. You saw Anthony Rizzo run over to him and he told him, "You got this. You deserve to be here." I mean, first of all, come on, that's like the nicest thing to say. Like, you deserve to be here.
They know the guy. Like, probably could just call him like Ron or some nickname that they have in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it last Saturday, which whatever we'll get to, but you can tell like it was all over his face. And remember, this is a kid.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we forget that. Like,
these guys are Jersey, kids. Right? Like, he
grew up a Yankees fan and everything. Yes. Like, imagine this is the dream and this is it. And it's against the Red Sox and like the second game of the season, like everything was there. And you're right, Rizzo showed walked to the mound and kind of give him a quick pep talk, a little pat in the butt, and then let's go. And he settled down right after that.
And then he was amazing. And then during the rain delay the other day, they did a spotlight on Giancarlo, and they were saying that he is a very quiet guy, that you would think that, like, the way he looks and the way people assume about him, that he would be like this loud, boisterous, cocky guy. And he's not like that at all. He's very quiet, very determined. He's become like one of the quieter leaders on the team. A lot of guys go up to him, and the way he studies the game, they say, is like ridiculous. They say he studies every aspect of the game. He tries to improve on himself all the time. He wants to be out there, and I want him out there in the outfield more than he is. So yeah, I just really appreciate that they're highlighting, a bunch of people, because I feel like that's always been the case, but then some people get overlooked, right? So I actually thought Jorge Posada was an amazing leader on the Yankees, and he's one of my favorite Yankees of all time. I thought he was a really great leader, but he was overshadowed sometimes by Derek Jeter and how he showed up. So it's just nice to hear that, like, there's a lot of guys. Brett Gardner was like that for the guys too. Miss you, Brett. So we'll see how all of that plays out this year too, because there are a lot of younger guys, newer guys on the team now, guys that are adjusting to what it means, play in New York. It is not easy to play here, as we've learned throughout history. So you do need guys that are able to handle the spotlight, show up, be solid, and help the rest of the team get past certain, like head games that they have to go through.
Well, they say too, like Cameron Maben, and the S booth now, and he's been saying a couple of times this year has been the pinstripes are heavy. They, meaning that like there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, and there's a whole nother meaning to it. And that's you're right. Some people fold under the pressure, and then they go elsewhere, and then they succeed because there is a lot that goes with putting on a Yankee uniform, and there's an expectation that's there. So it's not for everybody. That's for sure. All right, so let's get into the games of the week or the games of the season so far, because this is pretty much every game of the season. So opening day last Friday, which, by the way, kudos to the Yankees for doing the right thing and calling this damn thing, because it was supposed to be Thursday. The forecast looked awful. They called it at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was getting on the bus, like heading to work, and then boom, comes up on my feed. The Yanks already went ahead and postponed it to Friday. I was able to pull back the PTO day for Thursday and not waste 2 days on this. And one of them would have been for no reason. So kudos to them. And I'm sure a lot of other people were able to make arrangements to make the game. So that was cool.
And Friday was gorgeous too. It was like a perfect day to have opening day.
Lisa, I'm at an opening day. I told Angie this. I was at an opening day, not bundled up with a winter hat on or with a coat. All right, I was just in my Judge jersey and hoodie, regular hat, beyond excited. That's all I can ask for on opening day. Seriously. Like,
absolutely.
There's been other years where there's gloves and hand warmers and
I've definitely been to opening games where I was downing hot chocolate the whole game.
Oh, of course. There's like, beer? No, I know. I'll give me the hot chocolate, and let's just have like 5 of them, just to try to stay warm. But I couldn't ask for anything more. It was beautiful. And game not too bad itself. Pretty exciting, wild game. Yanks went ahead and walked off the Boston Red Sox 6-5 in extra innings. Walk off by Josh Donaldson in his first game as a Yankee. No better way to introduce yourself and get your name on the board with the fans. That was pretty awesome to see. Stuff not great to see was Garrett Cole.
It's pretty tough.
No decision. Listen, I'm not going to get on him about only going 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, and a walk and 3 strikeouts. These pitchers are not stretched out. That's the one thing that we're getting from the abbreviated spring training, is that these guys are still building up. So I think for the whole month of April, it's kind of where we're going to get. Guys are not going to go 100 pitches, 110 pitches. Go ahead.
Yes, and he's a
I'm getting to it. I was definitely ending there with it, because the one thing that I like Garrett Cole. I am a bit concerned with the whole lack of spider tag thing, because things have not been the same consistently, but we'll see what happens. But to have the nerve to bitch about Billy Crystal throwing out the first pitch, taking too long, dude, stop.
It's opening day, bro. There's going to be fanfare, the military, somebody singing the national anthem, somebody singing something else. Like, it was going to be a big deal. You knew the game was not going to start on time. And you're sitting there at the top step screaming at the umps. Calm down.
Yeah, I at least I'm 100% with you. Like, once I saw that, like when I got home that night and I saw that on the news and everything, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, stop. Cut the crap. This is not why you gave up a bomb to Devers. That's not why any of that happened. It's a 4-minute delay, dude. Like, honestly, just get over yourself a little bit. I get pitchers are creatures of habit and everything, and they do get weird. Not gonna lie, but that's absurd. So cut the crap. But Michael King got the win in relief, going 2 innings and 1 hit and 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. More on Michael King later on in the week, because we talked about it here. I have a little extra love for Michael King. Got to see him in Double-A when I went to go see the Bat Dogs and Trenton Thunder a couple of years ago. So Josh Donaldson was 2 for 6, which we had mentioned, game-winning walk-off RBI in the 11th inning. Anthony Rizzo was 1 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Aaron Judge 2 for 5 with a double. But a troubling trend this year, which we'll be bringing up quite a bit, is the Yankees' offense was 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
So only score. I mean, obviously the Donaldson hit was a single with their runner in scoring position. That was the only hit, though. Like everything else is predicated on the home run. Really tough to consistently win ball games like that when that's all you're banking on. Even if you are the Bronx Bombers.
I agree with that.
Not really the way to roll. And then in game 2, Yanks went ahead and clinched the series last Saturday, the game that we had mentioned, 4-2 again. So that was actually awesome to see. Lou Severino, another trend, no decision, 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. So not performing terribly, but pitchers not being stretched out. They're going to get limited to 60-something pitches, 70 pitches. But he should be ready by his next start. Lucas Licky picked up the win, his first of the season, going an inning and with 1 walk and 2 Ks. And Aroldis Chapman, more on him later, picked up his first save of the season with 1 inning pitched and a strikeout. And Anthony Rizzo, my boy again, second homer of the year, 2 RBIs. And Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run, driving in 2 runs as well. You had mentioned Ron Marinaccio, who's probably going to be nicknamed Mariachi throughout the season, just like you have Johnny Lasagna. So just start mentioning that crap. No, he made his major league debut, and you had mentioned Anthony Rizzo went ahead, besides hitting a home run, also calmed the kid down and got him under control. And he came into a big spot for your major league debut, but kid looks pretty good so far. I mean, their whole Yankees bullpen, outside of one guy being a little shaky, has been, has been lights out this season. We're not going to highlight them too much in here, but they've been great. They've been a strength of the team, which they've been for most of the last couple of seasons.
So before we move on to the next game, I just want to mention that with Stanton's home run in the bottom of the 6th, that gave him a 6-game home run hitting streak against the Red Sox, going back to last year. Prior to that, Mickey Mantle was the only other Yankee to homer in 5 straight games versus Boston. When you are being compared to Mickey Mantle, that says a lot.
You've done something pretty damn well. And kind of noticed fans at the stadium finally got off Stanton's back, it seems like, for a little bit, because now Joey Gallo's the new guy for the fans to start riding, and I can't say he doesn't deserve it. I mean, has not been great for the Yankees so far since they traded from last season. Hopefully he gets things turned around, though. All right, and then they draw Sunday Night Baseball, which did you catch this game? I was at this game, but did you watch this game?
Game 3 of theirs.
Yeah, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Did you have a chance to catch this one?
Yes, I did.
Because I want to know. I want to see if which broadcast you watched it on.
Oh, you know which one I watched. There was no way in
That's
hell.
what I was getting for. That's what I was going
watching. For. I was not watching A-Rod and K, whatever it was called.
The K-Rod cast.
No, there's no way I will ever. I would rather listen to John Sterling and Susan Waldman than to listen to that. Although I do want to say, I wish I did tune in for when Michael K mentioned that Jennifer Lopez got engaged.
I heard some weird stuff was going on this broadcast. Jerry was telling me about some of it, and I don't know. He enjoyed it, but I think he also has a man crush on A-Rod. But that's a whole other story.
Come on, Jerry. Come on. They did highlight it a couple of times during the other broadcast. They would show in a picture-in-picture. The two of them. I know they showed when they were talking to David Ortiz, and I forgot who the other person was that they were talking to at one point.
Roger Clemens also.
Roger Clemens, yes, that's who it was. But you couldn't hear it. You just saw them talking to them. So
okay.
But when I heard after that, Michael K was like, yeah, and people falling in love, people getting engaged. Oh, I would have loved to have seen that.
All right, listen, the next time there's the K-Rod cast and I'm not at the Sunday night game, I am going to watch it just so I can talk about it here. That's why I'm going to be honest, I can't imagine, well, whatever. We're used to listening to K. but like that's fine. It's the A-Rod portion. We'll see.
A-Rod portion.
The guy knows the game. I'm not going to act like he doesn't, but
he does.
He's just so awkward. And now, if you're telling him to like discuss more and just to like be himself, which is the big knock with him, that there is no himself. He's just whatever, trying to please whoever he's talking to at the time. I don't know, whatever. But as far as the game goes, I don't know. It was a great game. The Yanks went ahead and had plenty of chances to go ahead. This is a game they should have won, and it goes back to them being 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. I mean, if they would just be average with runners in scoring position, they would probably have won majority of the games they've played so far. Granted, it's been also a tough schedule to start, and we'll talk more later. But Jordan Montgomery got his first start of the season besides taking a shot off his leg, and that was a scare that we had gotten earlier, which actually happened to be pitching softball that morning too. I got hit on the ankle, and I just turned to Angie. I'm like, that shit happened to me this morning, but that baseball is a hell of a lot harder. So, he goes 3 in the third, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, and a walk, 4 Ks. Anthony Rizzo, 2 RBIs, 1 for 3 again, and Giancarlo Stanton, 3 for 5,
3 for 5
with an RBI. No, best game of the year. Judge 2 for 5, and I had mentioned the Yankees offense was 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. So when you're doing that means you're getting guys on, just not knocking them in. You gotta do that consistently, because unfortunately it seems like they're picking up where they left off with last year, and can't do that. This lineup is better than that. So can't just be like the all or nothing stuff, which they kind of got the next night when they welcomed the Blue Jays in for a 4-game set. They dropped the opener 3-0. Alex Manoah, he has their number. He has always pitched well against the Yankees. I was actually at his Major League debut last year as part of a doubleheader, and his whole family was there and stuff like that because, that's kind of what happens. And this kid is filthy. I mean, he's really, really good. But Jameson Taillon got his first start of the season, going 5 innings. That's fine. 5 hits, scattered, 2 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts. So Taillon looking good. He'll get his second start of the season tonight. Joey Gallo was 2 for 3. So he actually had 2 hits in the same game. So that is amazing. But in this, the Yanks offense 0 for 4 runners in scoring position, which also tells you they didn't have many chances to actually score. So they were just completely shut down.
And George Springer. Well, and George Springer, just to be fair to the Blue Jays, rather, George Springer was the reason for all of the Blue Jays runs. So he had a 2-run home run to left field in the 3rd, and then in the 7th he had an RBI double.
Yeah, and fans are riding him the whole series. I mean, that's never going to end. I mean, I actually have my anti-Astros shirt on today as this. That's never going to go away. Altuve and Springer and the Astros in general are always going to get that. So
absolutely.
And then the Yanks did bounce back the next night, turning the tables and shutting out the Blue Jays 4-0. Nasty Nestor Cortez took the no decision, but 4 1/3, 3 hits, 5 Ks, no walks. Clay Holmes did pick up the win in relief, going to 2 hitting in 2/3 with 2 strikeouts. Aaron Hicks, 1 for 2 with a homer and 2 RBIs and a walk. So good game for Hicks, who's kind of been in and out of the lineup, and I agree with that. I'm cool with like sliding Judge over to center, and Hicks bouncing around a little bit. DJ LeMahieu was 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, and Giancarlo Stanton had an RBI. But the Yanks offense 1 for 9, runners in scoring position. So they win 4-0 though, but pitching kind of carrying away with that to keep that going. The Wednesday night game was pretty wild. The Bombers were out edged by the Blue Jays 6-4, but Yanks were down 3-0, came roaring back. In later in the game with Rizzo and Judge going back-to-back homers. Gleyber Torres went ahead and got his first homer of the year. DJ LeMahieu drove in a big run to tie it, going 2 for 4 with the RBI. But in the beginning, Garrett Cole.
The story of this game was Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Oh no! I was going to get to that after the Cole thing because that ties in. Garrett Cole going 5 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and 6 Ks. First inning though, Vlad Guerrero Jr. homers, which
that one was weird.
Yeah, that
That one was really weird. Aaron Hicks caught the ball, and then in like the motion down, he hit the wall. The
Uh-huh.
ball popped out of his glove, hit the concrete only, did not hit the net whatsoever, and
Yeah.
then bounced. And they called it a double, and then they looked at it again and they called it a home run. By the way, I think it's very cool that the umpires can be like football referees now and talk to the
Yeah, so
crowd.
They hit the mic and then they start
That
going into that. That's
like,
considered.
why have we not ever had that before? I think that's a great addition.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a really suspect call. um I don't know how I feel about that one.
Well, they showed the net in Monument Park not budging.
Didn't move at all.
So I
It hit
understand
the
if it hit the
concrete.
yeah, I understand if it hit the net and bounced back because obviously that clears the wall and that's it. And the Yanks challenged it, rightfully so, and
Yes.
it still stood.
So
Like
now my question is, when you catch the ball but it's forced out, like there was no way Aaron Hicks was going to be able to hold that. I
mm-hmm.
also thought he broke his wrist because he's like Mr. Glass. But
Yeah,
but like he caught the ball and then it was like jarred out of his glove. So what
mm-hmm.
happens when something like when it's
If the ball clears the wall, no matter what, as
regardless?
long as it's not on a fly, I mean, it doesn't touch the ground, home run. Like if you look at it, there's my favorite blooper of all time, which I think should be in every single blooper reel in the history of moving forward. Yes, Jose Canseco off the head. Come on, you don't get better than that. See what I'm saying though? Like it went ahead, hit his head, went over, home run. Oh well, I mean, it is what it is. As long as it reaches on a fly and doesn't hit the ground, technically that's considered a home run.
But it
So
was in his glove though. Like
yeah,
it was. I feel like if he didn't, go like that against the wall, it would have been an out. But the glove hitting the wall made the ball pop out. I don't know.
my
I
best
feel like God, God.
no, my best comparison is in for those out there who also watch football in the NFL. When you make the catch, you have to make the catch and complete it, and come down with it. So if Hicks
Yeah.
went ahead and caught the ball, landed his feet, and I don't know what the heck could have happened. Maybe he bumps into a wall and then it shoots over. Then that could have been, something that would have been called otherwise. But for the fact that he's jumping in the air and then his wrist goes ahead and goes over, then that's considered a home run. But still hit the shit out of it. And the second home run he hit off of Cole. Listen, that you're going to turn a high 90s fastball on the hands and turn it around after his hand was bleeding and he got spiked at first base.
From Hicks.
Yes. So yeah, Hicks and Guerrero and Cole just had this like whole thing going on that whole night. It was just weird.
I remember texting you and giving you the throw up emoji because they showed way like first of all I don't even want to show it because of other things that happened in New York City, but like it was just like it looked really bad. It looked really really bad,
Yeah.
and it took a long time. Which like if I were the Yankees, I would have been pissed about that because there was a little bit of a delay so he could get his hand fixed. I couldn't believe he came back out, couldn't believe he could feel the ball after that, and then I could not believe that he hit a bomb right after.
Yeah. Oh, wow, we got a comment in here jumping on here. Our buddy Raul, who is a Mets fan and supports the show, so appreciate that. Raul, just got back from the Cyclones doubleheader. All right, cool. Bro, I actually like going to the Cyclones Stadium. The Cyclones games are fun.
It is.
Yeah, Vlad Guerrero Jr. was an absolute beast that night because he ends up homering off of Johnny Lasagna later on in the game for his third homer of the game. And he was 4 for 4 on the day. And we'll touch more on that because in the next game, that's baseball. So we got to have a That's Baseball, Susan, moment because
and with his home runs, he has 75 home runs in 350 games, which is the most in franchise history for the Blue Jays.
Kid is just amazing. I mean,
he's amazing, and
his father was amazing. He's amazing.
Yes.
Jesus.
I can't imagine how proud his dad is that, you can't ask for more than your kid just being good at it, and let alone he might end up being better than his dad, phenomenally better. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like if you're a parent, you cannot ask for more than your kid being even better than you. So
kind of like in the NBA, Del Curry, who played in the '90s, great shooter for the Hornets mostly. and then has Seth Curry, and Steph Curry. He
Yep.
has 2 kids, and freaking Steph Curry pretty much changed the game. Arguably the greatest shooter in NBA history now.
And
They got better.
And aren't there 3 brothers in the NBA also whose father used to play? I'm not an NBA fan, but I feel
not
like
off the top of my head.
I feel like there were 3 brothers, or maybe one of them's in college and 2 of them are in the NBA, but he's likely going to be. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
No, it's fine. But yeah,
but I mean, whole families, the Alou family, like there's a lot of families.
Yeah. You look at the Molinas; they had 3 catchers. Mm-hmm. One of them still going.
Yes.
The youngest being the best of them, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's always incredible. Angie and I have talked about it a bunch of times where they're just amazed when we see that. Like it's just wow, just stunning to me. But Yanks went ahead and got a series split in the 4-game set the next night, Thursday night, blanking the Blue Jays 3-0 after an hour and a half rain delay. Which I was at the game with Jerry's cousin Danny, and which we decided to go take a stroll through the Yankee Museum, and we went through the baseballs that are there, and we were just trying to find like bad Yankees. Everyone's there just like getting the stars. We're like, no, we're gonna find the most ridiculous Yankees here. And I took a bunch of pictures of them, and my most hated is Kevin Moss because just he's whatever. He's the only person I've ever booed. He's the only Yankee I ever booed, and I booed him at Old Timers Day. Yes, exactly. And I know I mentioned that previously on this show. I don't know what the hell point I did, but I openly admitted that was the case. But whatever. It was actually a little fun game that we had. But game got started and actually moved at a pretty solid pace. But story of this game is Luis Severino picking up his first win of the season, going 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks with 6 Ks. And earlier in the game, the offense where it came from. I mean, IKF going 3 for 3 with a double and 2 runs scored. And
he needed that.
Yeah, and then Trevino going 2 for 3 with 2 RBI singles with a stolen base. A stolen base. What? I was loving it. I was absolutely loving this shit. Giancarlo Stanton, oh yeah, that guy drove in a run as well. But Yanks offense on the night was 2 for 10 with the runners in scoring position, but those 2 hits were by Trevino. Who you never would. Him and IKF just owned that game. But Yanks up 3-0 in the top of the 9th inning. Chapman comes in for the save. We're like, all right, here we go. And by the way, we're here after an hour and a half rain delay. It's like super late. We're like, oh man, just please go ahead. So
and wait, before you go forward, if you don't know Ed, folks, Ed stays the entire game, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hot, no matter how cold, no matter what time he has to get up in the morning. Ed will stay at a game until 2:00 in the morning if he has to. So Ed was there till the very last drop of Frank Sinatra.
I always, and you know this, I always stay for one rendition of New York, New York.
You do.
Like when they win, when they lose, I'm like, yo, I'm out of here. That's it. Like I'm just go home. That's it. Yeah, I've heard your song already. It's okay, fine. No, it's funny you mentioned 2:00 in the morning because me and Danny were talking about that on Angie and I's first anniversary dating. We were at the state. We had tickets, and I asked her, I'm like, want to go or not? She's like, yeah, no, we'll go. So we had dinner in the steakhouse, and then there was a rain delay against the Orioles. And it went on, and the game didn't start until like 11 o'clock at night. She didn't complain once.
That's how you knew.
I joke around. I was like, yeah, that's how I knew. It was we were going to be all right. Everything was going to be cool. But whatever. Besides that, Chapman goes in and walks the bases loaded. And I was actually encouraged by Boone just saying, no, we're not doing this. We're not going to, because I feel like in the past he would have let Chapman work out of this. And then he would have either gave up a grand slam or, walked in a run or something like that. No, he's like, listen, we're not screwing around. And Michael King came in, goes ahead, strikes out George Springer, which, they had the top of the order coming up, which is, there. And then he goes ahead and gets Pichette to go ahead and lines out to second base. And they go ahead and throws to DJ goes ahead and turns around, throws it to first for a double play to end the game. I'm like, thank God. Because there was no way, like how much of a bad mood I would have been furious if they would have had and blew that game. or it would have went into extra innings and would have had to see the Manfred man again and all this other crap. Like, it could have gone so wrong, but thankfully it really didn't. Happy way to do it. But I also feel like these first two series against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, it was like a heavyweight fight going back and forth. Like, each team, like, shutting, Yanks get shut out, Blue Jays get shut out, wacky game on Wednesday. Yanks go ahead and shut them out again. And they shut this lineup out twice. That lineup is loaded. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, well, when we had our crossover show a couple weeks ago, like, we were talking about the Blue Jays they're,
it's gonna be a battle.
They're labeled as the top team in AL East. Like, right, they look pretty good this year. They look damn good this year, I should say. Not pretty good. They look damn good this year. So for us to split that series, we needed that. It would have been great if we won the series, but we needed to at the very least split it. So I'm really glad that we won Game 4.
And the pitching's leading the way. I just feel like, though, Yanks taking 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox, who I think the Yanks will, just on paper, they do look like a better team than the Red Sox are. And then the Blue Jays being the favorite. I mean, that's who Vegas has as the favorite for this division. We'll see how that plays out because these seasons are not decided in Vegas before the season. So we'll see how that goes. No, but I just thought this is how it's going to be. The AL East is the deepest division in baseball. It's going to be the toughest. 4 out of the 5 teams are going to be good or, really good. So that's how it is. But then that'll tie into last night's game and the importance of that. Yanks went ahead in Baltimore this weekend, and they dropped the opener 2-1 in 10 innings to the Orioles in a game where Yanks had a lot of runners on early. And against bad teams, you got to jump on them early. Don't give them any hope. Put them away quick. And they didn't. They let them hang around. And this is what happens. You go ahead and they come back and get you sooner or later. But Jordan Montgomery got his second start of the season. Another no decision, but 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Did his job. Bullpen mostly did their job. Giancarlo Stanton was 3 for 5. Second 3-hit game of the season, driving in a run. Yanks offense, though, 2 for 11 with runs in scoring position. And early was when they had to strike. But Clark Schmidt goes ahead, loads up the bases. He was getting the umpire last night was all over the place. Besides this whole emphatic strike 3 call when he's like, strike 3 or whatever. Like, it drives me nuts because I like it and I don't like it because I'm more like the umpire's trying to be the show. Like, no one's paying to watch you punch people out, dude. So cut the crowd. But he was really inconsistent. It's just he was all over. But then Chapman comes in to face Cedric Mullins, actually struck him out and looked good. And I felt like he also should have had a strike 3 call, and they should have been out of that. He ends up walking in a run. Boone gets ejected after the game because he went ballistic.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I just think it wasn't really about the ball 4 call. It was more about the entire night because he was barking at him the whole night, and they were just frustrated. Plus, you just lost to the Orioles. But the telecast was emphasizing the entire night of every AL East division winner for the past 5 years and their record versus the Orioles.
Yeah,
because we talked about, it's going to be against the Blue Jays and the Reds and the Rays and the Red Sox. They're going to split a lot of series. They're going to beat the crap out of each other. It's who beats up on the Orioles the best is probably who's going to win the division, and you can't let games like this slip away. So, and they typically they used to before the last couple of years beat up on the Orioles. Got to get back to that.
Oh, they used to destroy them.
Yeah, you need to get back to that, regardless of their insane left field, by the way, being 400 feet out of nowhere. That's just weird. Like, what is that? What are you doing? Why? Because it's a bandbox or whatever. Your guys are hitting also. Stop. Like, I don't know. It's really bizarre. Camden Yards is one of my favorite road ballparks, though, to go to.
Gorgeous.
It's so awesome. There's no need to make left field 400 feet out of nowhere. That's just nobody does that. So, whatever. Or it's doing whatever the hell it is that you do. But yeah, that's pretty much the bugaboo for the Yanks, though. They gotta start hitting with runners in scoring position because the pitching isn't going to carry you forever. I mean, they're going to also hit a bump. Got to get it going, and I feel like they have the guys in the lineup to do so. So,
Yeah, and I do feel like this is something that has plagued them for the last few years, where it's like they start the season off doing this. They have runners in scoring position, they can't get them in, and then you have some guys that you go back to basic baseball, right? So you have some guys starting to steal a little bit more after a while. After you see this for a little while, you see guys laying down bunts and moving runners over, and doing things a little bit more intentionally small ball. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, yeah, we're the Bronx Bombers, but we have to know how to have situational baseball hitting as well. Like that's the key to winning some of these games. That it's a close game. If you can't blow a team out, which of course you can't do that every game, then you have to be smart about what you're doing when you're up at bat. You have to know where the ball has to go, and you have to execute that. So I really
Yeah.
hope they figure that out sooner rather than later this year. And we'll see what happens with that because we always have great potential, but if we're going to rely on home runs, that's not going to do it.
They can't literally just be exclusively the home runs. But Raul has a comment in here as well. Yanks pitching has been doing really good. No, absolutely.
Hmm.
Hitting has been inconsistent. You're right. Like we highlighted this whole episode, is the runners in scoring position is the
Yep.
problem. And no, you're definitely not off, Raul. You're 100% correct. That is, you're in tune with it. That's exactly what the issue is. And home runs are great, but it can't just exclusively be home runs. And that's why, like, with Thursday night's win over the Jays, I was like excited to see like runners in motion, backup catchers getting base hits, and stealing bases, which that was just wild. I still can't believe I saw that. That was like the most shocking thing of the entire week. But good for him. Listen, he's in the lineup tonight, so hopefully, maybe we see another sneaky steal in there.
Yeah.
But all right, so we'll go ahead and highlight our hitter and pitchers of the week as we typically do. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with our top of the heap, which is our hitter of the week. And Lisa, you want to get us started off? What hitter do you want to highlight for this week?
Okay, so I had two people. I feel like you might have had both of them as well, and because I favor one more than the other and you favor the other, I'm gonna pick mine and let you pick yours if that's who it is that you pick.
Uh-huh.
So I am gonna go with Giancarlo Stanton, of course. He had two home runs. His average is 300. His OPS is 790. Seven RBIs, two runs, nine hits. His on base percentage was 290, and his slugging percentage is 500. Now I could have easily picked somebody else. Maybe that was your choice. Who did you have, Ed?
I'm with Big G as well.
Oh, oh, oh.
Nope. I'm with Big G as well. Listen, and you're right. Rizzo would have been the only other
Hmm.
logical option. I can tell you one thing:
Hmm.
it wasn't going to be Joey Gallo.
Definitely wasn't.
That's not Joey Gallo. Um, no, Giancarlo Stanton's been really good this season, and I mean he was last season as well, and he's been one of their most clutch hitters on the team. So yeah, and fans finally getting off his case and just embracing him finally. Good to see. Yeah, no, I'm definitely with Giancarlo Stanton with you on this one as well. And our pitcher of the week is where we go with the King of the Hill. So
Mhm.
obviously both nods to Frank Sinatra's New York, New York. Pitcher of the week, I'm going with Michael King. Michael King on opening day coming out of the bullpen, saving the day there, and then saving what would have been an epic collapse on Thursday night and would have been a total disaster. I had mentioned earlier, I would have lost my mind after an hour and a half rain delay. I'm sure others would have as well. Not splitting a series. And also for Thursday night's game, right? I forgot to mention the That's Baseball, Susan. Vladimir Guerrero, Wednesday, 4 for 4, 3 homers, right? Thursday, 0 for 4 with a golden sombrero. The game is humbling, people.
Mhm.
It's a humbling game. It can go day to day. And I actually think he had a good night last night again. So just how it goes. Um, who was your pitcher of the week?
So I had two here as well, but I think just throughout this conversation, I'm leaning more towards. I'm just going to give it to the bullpen.
Okay, no, that's
So
fair.
yeah, it was. I was gonna say Sevi for bouncing back and in his second game doing a little bit better, but no, I think I have to give it to the bullpen. As you mentioned, shortened spring training, So our starters have not been able to get stretched out yet. A few people mentioned that it would probably take them a few games. We're seeing that. And the bullpen has come in and been able to do what they have to do. And as they've done for, the last few years, they've really been a very integral part of the team when especially when our hitters aren't hitting in the ways that we need them to. The bullpen keeps close games close. They shut teams down. They shut down Vlad Guerrero Jr. after having a monster game the day before. So yeah, kudos to the bullpen, everybody in there for stepping up and doing what they have to do to make it so that we can win more games that we could have possibly lost without a stronger bullpen.
Yeah, no, it's been a strength of the team for a couple of years now. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much it. Um, okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll turn it to as we usually do. We'll preview the series that they're at least in the middle of right now against the Orioles, and time to start picking up some W's on the Orioles. Tonight's game does start at 7:05, and will be right for us. So it's kind of like an early pregame thing if you want to, or watch us and then watch the pregame, so you get extended Yankees baseball talk before. But we do have our lineup for tonight's game, so let's go ahead and drop this off the screen. All right, so Lisa, you want to go ahead and read off tonight's lineup?
Sure, and I can also talk about the starting pitchers.
Absolutely.
So we have Aaron Hicks starting off in center field. We have all rise Aaron Judge in right field batting second. Third up, we have Ed's favorite Anthony Rizzo. Then we have my favorite. Unfortunately, he's DHing. I would rather see him out in the field, but at least he's DHing. We got Giancarlo Stanton as the cleanup. Then we have Josh Donaldson at third base. Joey Gallo still in the lineup in left field. Let's hope he has a good game. Come on, Joey. Then we have Gleyber Torres playing second base. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa playing shortstop and batting in the 8 hole. And as catcher batting ninth, we have your new favorite Trevino. So let's see if he steals another base today and keeps you happy. And then for our starting pitchers for both teams, we'll start with ours. We have Jamison Tyone. He's a right-hand pitcher. He is 0 for 1 so far, 3.60 ERA, and 6 strikeouts on the year so far. And he will be playing against Tyler Wells, also a right-hand pitcher, 0 for 1, 21.6 ERA. And 2 strikeouts for him. So let's hope we can make his ERA sound even more garbage after this game. And then for game 3, we have one of my favorites. And Ed, by the way, your facial hair is starting to look like him a little bit. So Nasty Nestor Cortez will be pitching in game 3.
All right, so that means translation. I got to shave tomorrow morning.
Nasty Nestor is a left-hand pitcher. He has an 0-0 record so far, and he has a 0 ERA with 5 strikeouts. And he is going up against Bruce Zimmerman, a left-hand pitcher. Same record, same ERA, and 4 strikeouts on his stats so far. So let's hope that Nestor can continue to give us at least a good solid 5 innings and see what we got going on there.
Nice. And then also, Yanks go ahead and after they get an off day on Monday, and they
finally have an off day.
But then they head to Detroit, and then they welcome in the Guardians when they come back to the stadium, which we'll be at next Sunday afternoon. And so we'll see you guys next Sunday night after that.
That'll be my first game, so I'm excited.
Yeah, fingers crossed for good weather for that.
Oh my gosh.
But these are teams the Yanks need to beat up on. Because again, emphasizing what we talked about. Like you gotta beat up on the teams you're supposed to beat up on. You can't screw around with that and mess around. So there is that. So that will pretty much wrap it up for us this week. And there we go. As Frank Sinatra, how we like to wrap up our episodes, because we feel like all our episodes are Yankees win. So, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, as always, we appreciate it. If you like what you heard, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Empire161 Show. Join us on Facebook at our Facebook group, the Empire161 Show Facebook group. And check us out on Pop Culture Pros. If you join us on YouTube, hit subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to Pop Culture Pros, and you can check out our playlist, past episodes, and other cool stuff that Pop Culture Pros has. For an example, if you're like Raul and you go ahead and you actually are a fan of the New York Mets, you can go ahead and check out Faraci and Rodriguez and Keith at the Put It in the Book show. Go check out both shows. Why not? Support everybody. If you're into comic books, you can go ahead and check out Granny's Peach Tea, which this week Jason and I will be watching the infamous Nicolas Cage starring Ghost Rider. So we'll be taking a look at that and the latest episodes of Moon Knight and all the CW shows. If you're into James Bond and that's kind of your thing, Monday nights you got Double O Deep Dive, which Jason and I will be joining them this week because I've been out for a few weeks. We'll be talking about another infamous film in Moonraker, which is why they consider one of the worst Bond films ever made. So we'll see how that goes. If you're into wrestling, go ahead and check out Tim and Eric on the Just Too Sweet show. They're on Tuesday nights. If you're into Disney and want to hear more about Disney parks, got Skyliner Views on Thursday nights with Ashley and whoever her guest of the week it is. Check that out. If you're into anything, just in general, Eric and Tim, Friday nights, A to Z. They cover everything from A to Z. Literally anything you can think of. So go ahead and check them out. So go ahead. All right. So go ahead and check out the games this week. Have a good time enjoying it. Hopefully Yanks have a good week, and we'll be back next Sunday to talk about it. So as always, stay safe out there. Be good to everybody. And let's go Yankees.
Yeah. Woo! Thanks, everybody.
Right. Peace.